This week is episode 2 of Jackie Quinn. Of course, you all watched last week, you listened last week, you know who Jackie is, but just in case you're on holiday or hiding underneath a rock, Jackie, welcome back.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning. Please just, in case anyone was under a rock last week, just who you are, your experience, before we get started.
So I'm Jackie Quinn. I'm an estate agent in Surrey with 3 offices, been in the industry for a very long time, and I'm also the executive for the southeast of England for Propertymark.
So Jackie is highly experienced, high quality, lovely business, and is a part of, in essence, what's the sort of guiding star or a kite mark for consumers when it comes to the world of estate agency. So great guest, great experience. Going straight into a really tough. That was meant to be tough and challenging, but I nearly said tough and challenging question. Let's get into it. In your experience, what's the biggest failure in how the property industry serves the people who rely on it? So you could talk generally here. You could talk about agents or consumers, because both rely on the industry. But what I really want to know is why you think it keeps happening or why it doesn't improve.
Well, for me, the biggest challenge is the time it takes to move and the complexity of what should be a really simple process. And the fact now it takes on average 5 months to move from finding a buyer, takes, on average 5 months to actually physically move.
Which is just wild.
It's wild. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy, and it's all outside our control as agents and as consumers.
And so, for a bit of context, when you started an agency, can you remember roughly on average how long it was taking?
It was about 10 to 12 weeks. 10 to 12 weeks.
So it's doubled?
It's doubled in time. And some of them are even longer. I've had sales that have taken up to a year to go through that were straightforward, proceedable sales. So somebody who's not waiting to sell a house, somebody who's ready to buy, agreeing a deal. It's taken nearly a year.
And why is that? In your experience, and obviously we're not talking about every transaction that's ever happened, we're just talking about what me and you have experienced. Why do you think it's happening, or why is it happening in your world at the moment?
Well, it's the conveyancing process is just non-existent. There isn't a process. Okay. It's currently taking 4 to 6 weeks to onboard clients, which is a new thing for us. It's only happened in the past couple of months. Okay. When we sell a property and a client goes to a solicitor, they're now having to go through a real rigorous onboarding process of proving who they are, proving where their money came from. And as I say, it can take 4 to 6 weeks to even start. Okay.
And is that a procedural issue, or is that something new that you found has come in around what's required of conveyancers? Are they doing that because this new process is mandated to them?
Yes, I mean that's something that they now have to do, and they're all taking it. I think they've had to do it for a long time, but a lot of them are now taking it seriously, because I think there have been some fines out there, and they're actually now starting to insist that they have all this information before they even contact the buyer's solicitor. So we sell a property for a vendor, we have a purchaser. We send out a memorandum of sale to all parties involved, so that's the buyer, the seller, and both their solicitors. And then everybody's excited and they expect action. They expect to hear from their solicitor and they expect something to happen. Well, at that point, the solicitor starts to do the proof of ID and where's the money coming from, and that's the bit that can take 4 to 6 weeks before you even start anything rolling.
And so I appreciate that you're the agent, you're not the conveyancer, you're not in their office, you don't know exactly what's going on. But why is it taking 4 to 6 weeks?
Because I think the people, the customer doesn't understand why they're doing it, and they don't understand that they have to do it because it's never happened in the past. Okay. It comes as a bolt out of the blue. Right, where did you get your money from? You need to prove where it came from. If you got given it from your grandparents, we have to contact your grandparents and take their passport and driving licence. Okay. And the proof of funds has to go down the line until the solicitor is absolutely sure they know where the money's come from. And
so actually, the getting started is less about the conveyancing and more about the buyer doing everything they need to.
Yes. And the seller.
Yeah, sure.
And as agents, we're changing the way we work and actually saying to everyone who's on the market, you need to speak to your lawyers now and actually make sure that you're doing the onboarding process and making sure that you are going to be proceedable and ready to go as soon as you found a buyer. But we do that when they first come on the market.
And so we've been doing something similar now for a while in our estate agency business. One of the services we offer to our clients is actually they do the conveyancing in advance of going to the market. In advance of being under offer. So we'll instruct a particular firm that will put a conveyancer in place for the seller, our client, and a conveyancer in place for the buyer, even though the buyer hasn't been found. And they'll run the process. And when the property goes under offer, they can step in and take over the legal pack. And that is exceptional because we can get to point of exchange where if it's a cash purchase, you can exchange 4 days after going under offer, or within 3 weeks if there's, we've got surveys and bits and pieces for finance. Do we need to reinvent how this works? Do we need to reinvent estate agency, conveyancing, all of it? How do we improve this?
Well, I think, for me, I think the estate agency bit is fine.
Okay.
I would say that.
Yeah.
But I think that all works well. I think the conveyancing process needs to change. It's far too prolonged. It's very complex. Doesn't need to be. And I think the whole system actually could do with a good look at, as we all know.
So, very biased view, Jackie. Estate agency doesn't need to change, just conveyancers.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll take that. We'll run with that. What do you think AI is going to do? Is AI going to remove the need for conveyancers?
I think AI is going to enhance and improve the service of conveyancers. Okay. I don't think it's going to take away the actual service.
Okay. So we're quite heavily into AI at the moment. I don't mean we're using it en masse. We're using it quite a lot in the various different areas of the business and administrative tasks. Absolutely. And contract review tasks and things like that. It's absolutely astonishing. And we're only really, I guess, we're at, if you think of AI like you think of the internet, 25 years ago you had dial-up internet where it made that telephone noise like in the Matrix. Well, we're there with AI. How far it's going to improve, how much more is going to change. I do wonder if there'll be a need for conveyancers in the future if you have AI on both sides of the transaction working through contracts.
No, I think where the human touch, and I'm a great fan of AI, I love it, I think it's phenomenal. And from what I understand, having been to a few seminars, it does a lot more than we actually know it does. And I think they're just rolling it out slowly to get the humans to accept it. Because it can run the world. And I think, but we're still humans, we still need humans in our life. And I think from the conveyancing perspective, you need somebody to actually explain to people, this is what AI has come up with, this is on the contract side. And you still need somebody to actually sit down with you and explain what it means.
Yeah, see, I think we do now need that.
Yes.
I think the generation, so if I think about my daughters, who are 3, 5 and 9, they are going to be raised in an AI world. Yes. And they will be less concerned with talking to a person, I think. I think that's going to be the major pivot, that we're going to reach a point where the youngest generation that are going to be raised on this medium, just like another example might be, if you think about all the 30-year-olds in the world that were in essence raised on social media. They perform very differently on social media to maybe people that are older than 30 years old, and they see the world as they communicate in a very different way in real life. And I think that we're going to see a potentially huge change in our sector, because in 30 years, which feels like it's a really long way away, but it's not, there'll be just so much less need for someone to have that conversation. But we can't, 30 years is a long way away. And actually, let me just go back to AI. You've been to a few seminars. We don't even know what AI is capable of. How are you using it, and how do you think you'll be using it in the future to improve your agency?
Well, currently, I mean, we use it pretty base level. So we're using it to draw up house particulars, descriptions, descriptions of areas. We're using it for general marketing. We don't use it literally. We take it and we tweak it and personalise it. I use it in my business for planning strategy, for team training. Everything that used to sit down for 3 days and draw up manually, I just do in 2 minutes on AI now. And then just take out the Americanisms and away we go. So I do use it a lot for that. I haven't started using it for booking appointments and valuations as yet, because I still think it's falling a bit short. The public don't like engaging at the minute with an AI person. I mean, I had a chat with somebody a couple of weeks ago who I thought was a person, and we were having a really, really nice chat. And it was only about 5 minutes into the conversation I realised I was talking to an AI. And it was really awkward, and I put the phone down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I bet it was so real. So real.
What?
I can't remember what it was that actually made me realise it was a machine. But it was
what
really
business
awkward.
was that you were talking to?
It was just a salesperson from a prop tech company.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
But it was a proper, a voice call. Chit chat. And there was chit chat until we got to the point of, could you explain that in English, please? And then I thought, I'm speaking to a machine.
And your reaction was you hung up because...
I hung up because I felt I'd been frauded.
Interesting.
If I'd have started the conversation, I'm Fred and I'm your AI bot today, I probably would have approached it in a different manner. I still say please to AI. With ChatGPT, I finish every question with please.
So do I.
Yeah.
So that is really interesting. So I can't remember which, but I bank with 2 banks. I can't remember which one it is, but one of the banks has now moved to AI as opposed to a call centre, which I'm pretty sure the call centre was in India. But the issue I used to have with calling the bank is that the call centre would firstly pass you from pillar to post. You explain the issue here, you get posted number 2, number 2, number 3. Or a little bit like if you've ever had Sky TV and you have a problem with Sky TV and you have to explain the situation to person number 1, then explain to person number 2. You should drive around the bend. But the other thing about when a call centre is based in a different country is if the accents are too strong, really, really difficult. So this AI bot, which I'm pretty certain says at the start, hi, I am AI bot Ben, was brilliant. I think is excellent. It's amazing. I also heard another example of someone wanting to book a hotel stay, and so this is not me. This is just literally hearing an example. And like you said, the chit chat is phenomenal.
It is.
And it's the mannerisms and the ums and the ahs and the natural rapport through mirroring and reflecting what they hear. And they didn't announce that they're a bot, and it's almost difficult to tell that they are. So this is interesting. So do you think? I think you're right that as a society we're not quite there yet with being comfortable with it. But do you think if businesses are going to move towards that, and if they're announcing it, and if they said, "Hi Jackie, I'm Ben, I'm an AI bot from this software," you'd have been comfortable to do that call?
No, probably not.
Okay.
No, because I'm not ready for it yet. Not to that level. I'm quite happy to work with it on a process-driven basis. Okay. So if it had said, "Hi, I'm AI bot Ben, how can I help you today?" I would have gone through a very stunted conversation about, can you do this, can you do that? Yeah. But I wouldn't have been comfortable in having a conversation chit-chat wise. Yeah. Because it's totally pointless. Yeah, you're right. That there's something very strange about if they were to just, for instance, if they say, "How are you today?" Yeah, you want to say... It did. Yeah, so don't worry about how I am. Let's just get... Yeah, just get on with the process. Yeah. Which is funny, isn't it? Because you would never say that to a human. No. But you would say that to an AI because it doesn't have consciousness and you're not going to offend it. So yeah, it's interesting to think where we're going to get to and how quickly we're going to get there, because you use AI a lot. You're probably... I use it all the time. So you're miles ahead of the vast majority. I don't use Google very much anymore. I use AI for everything. Same. Planning holidays, restaurant visits, or TikTok, one or the other. But, the AI thing, I think, is it's going to move forward very quickly. How soon will you be ready to deal with AI in everything? So, that call, for instance. Probably months rather than years. Okay. I feel more comfortable with it now. I think it's just knowing and understanding and trusting it. Again, you know, I'm used to having worked with humans all my life. I'm used to human error. I'm used to people making mistakes. This won't make a mistake. So from your admin perspective, from your compliance for you know, dealing with conveyancing, it's not going to make mistakes. It will just be fact. And I think that is great. There's certain processes that will be, it will change.
It's game changer.
It's game changer.
Yeah.
But
So,
I still don't think we will lose the human touch. I don't think we can lose the human touch.
So how does a business? So if I made this argument a couple of years ago around automation of the applicant registration process, the buyer registration process, and using a tool that allowed someone to register online rather than speak to a human.
Yeah.
And the business I'm connected to, or the wider group, wanted to bring in this piece of tech that meant, in the first instance, people would register and do it online. And I said, I don't want to be that business. I want to have the human touch. Our guys are trained within an inch of their lives to do a brilliant job at doing this. And we're sounds a bit naff, Finding Country is a premium price point market. So that particular consumer, firstly, they are time constrained. So there's an argument to say maybe they prefer the speed, but they also expect a level of service. And so they expect to speak to a person. They expect a level of detail that you're probably not going to complete in a form online. There's a lot of back and forth. And the argument was made that if you look at the travel sector, when's the last time you walked into a travel agent and booked a holiday?
No.
But 20 years ago, every holiday was,
yeah,
you know, I remember going with mum up the high street and getting, you know, they used to pull the brochures off the wall. Yeah, you know, and that was the norm. And culturally, we made that shift.
Well, same with estate agents, wasn't it? Property particulars. I haven't given out a property particular for God knows how many years.
Well, we still do that actually. we're slightly different in that respect, but. So the argument was made, well, the consumer wanted it in travel, so maybe they want it in property. And the argument I made that what happened to all the people that you worked in the travel industry? Where did they end up? Because they're not on the high street working there anymore.
Probably estate agents.
Well, but so if we take away all the human touch, then there's no need for us anymore. And so what happens? So lots of back and forth, lots of arguing, lots of disagreeing, professional disagreements. If the future of this industry involves lots more AI, is there a risk that we're all just going to sound the same because we're all using ChatGPT, we're all asking the same questions, it's throwing out all the same answers?
Yeah, and that's why I think we'll always be needed, because otherwise we would all be like machines. I think the AI will take over the admin side of it. We have lovely chats with people, with clients, we agree to put the house on the market, and then they will become to expect the rest of the transaction will be dealt with by AI. They'll be doing their proof of ID, approving the details, the photos, the marketing, maybe even booking the viewings. But things like when people have viewed the property, the feedback, speaking to the people who viewed, because you can't view a property virtually, you've got to go and physically view it. When people have viewed the house, actually going back to the client and saying what they thought of it and how they can improve it, that will never be taken on by AI.
Oh wow, we've got this on tape now. In 30 years,
it will never be taken over by AI.
What about Elon's robots? You know, because you know what what the consumer's going to say is, all you do is open the door, and when you show them around the house, you say, this is the bathroom, and I want to blow my brains out because I can see it's a bathroom, it's got a bath in it.
I think, for me, property goes beyond that. It's beyond the physical. It's actually, people get a feel. They go in a house. It's not about whether they see the bath, they see the kitchen. It's about a feel they get a vibe for it.
But they don't need the agent for that to get that vibe, do they?
No, they don't. But then, like you say, then all humans would be redundant, and then what would we do then? That would be the end of the world. So I think that can't actually happen.
Well, so the reason I'm pushing on this is because on my flight home last night, I listened to Stephen Bartlett's latest episode with Mo Godot, I think his name is, ex-Google tech guy, and his obsession around AI, and Sam Altman's obviously OpenAI. And they're all talking about a similar sort of thing where we aren't far away from AI and bots being able to do quite literally everything. And so then as a species, we don't need to work. And so I don't know, right, so I'm thinking about my 3 girls. What are they going to do when they're older? do we need digital marketers or will AI take over? Do we need estate agents or will AI take over? So I'm thinking of raising 3 little plumbers because you'll always need a plumber. But then,
well, do you? Because I mean, they'll build a robot. Yeah, I think that's taking it to the extreme. I mean, we'll all be like in a sci-fi film otherwise, won't we? I think it's going to, from my opinion, it's going to take over all the monotonous tasks that a machine can do.
Okay.
But anything that involves public interaction, I think, we're just going to, I think we'll always be needed. Even when your little girls are grown up, they'll still be wanted and needed. We were talking before the episode started and we were saying that Deliveroo, you used to have to walk around the shop to pick up your Chinese takeaway. It was a 10-minute walk for your payoff to get your nice dinner, and now you just press a button and it's done. And so if you go back 30, 40 years, the concept of Amazon, of deliver services, that you can purchase or you can order something today and it will arrive tomorrow, these things would have just been wild to even think they're possible. Yeah. So in 30 years, what we're talking about right now might actually be, me and you would be on a beach somewhere just... Well, I'll be 6 foot under by then.
Well, I don't know that.
It's... I think... I don't think it will take over the world. I think it will enhance the world, and it will make it a better place to work, and it will be better for consumers because it will be efficient and there is no risk of human error.
Okay. All right, I'll take that. Let's veer off to the human error side, right? In the previous episode, we talked about we briefly mentioned working from home. And that the various models that now operate in the UK estate agency world, some of them you sort of work on your own and you can work from home a lot. And generally, the last 5 years we've seen work from home explode because of COVID. What's your thinking? Can work from home work in a estate agency?
I think it can.
Okay.
If you are an experienced agent and you've done your time in an office with real people. And I think it can if you are very disciplined and you make sure that you get out of your study and see real people from time to time. I think it can work. I don't think... My problem with it will be in 10 years' time, because I think for the generation... I've got a son who's 25, so he was at uni during COVID, and he went straight to work on 3 day a week at home, 2 day in the office. Now in 10 years' time, when he's going to be like management, he won't have the experience of dealing with real people. And we all learn from people, and that's where our experience comes from. We can't learn from our study on a Zoom call.
This is so interesting. So we haven't queued this up. We really, really haven't. I feel the exact... So you're saying exactly what I feel and have said in the past, but so few people say it. And I don't know if it's because work from home is so popular right now. People are so worried about offending people that want to work from home. But I think you've nailed it, that without the lived experience... Yeah. You're right, it's not your son necessarily, it's the next group that come in, the next cohort.
The leaders are not going to be able to lead because they won't have any people skills. They won't be, you learn from your mentors. You learn by making mistakes when you're young and you've started a new job.
And you learn by osmosis.
And you learn, you copy the good people, you avoid the bad people. You learn how to interact with people and what motivates people. And when you're 10 years' time, as I say, when he's 35 and middle management, he won't have a clue of how to work with people. And then if you fast forward that on again, so he's in middle management, he doesn't know how to do it. So the next cohort coming in are going to be trained horrendously because your son's generation are not going to have the skill set and the experience. No. And so in 3 generations' time, we're going to have no workforce. We'll have to go back to AI because there will be nobody that can do anything. Which is so true. And I remember saying to our team years ago, sort of post-COVID, it was slightly, that's an understatement. It was a very strange time for everyone, working out how do we come back, when do we come back, how do we re-establish business, what do the social norms look like now? And I'm touch wood, I was very lucky that I had a team that everyone wanted to be in. There was a little bit of work from home, but everyone wanted to be in, wanted to get involved. Yeah. And we ran traditional sales environments, which were about energy and fun and getting results and learning for everyone. But I remember saying and making this argument that
as an existing team, you should have gratitude for the guys that you're learning from. So if you're new and you join our business today, you're going to learn huge amounts from the team upstairs. Between them, they've got like 100 years in the estate agency, and you're going to pick up so much from them.
Yeah.
You can't, I don't care what you say, looking at a computer screen or reading a book is never going to teach you like being in a room with great people, hearing great conversations.
It's not.
But once you've learned from them, it then becomes your responsibility to teach the next lot.
Yes.
And that's the issue that we have, that I think so many people were, unfortunately, it was selfishness. I want to work from home. I don't want to do the journey. I want to be able to do the washing in the middle of the day.
Walk the dog when it's not raining.
Yeah, you know, and you haven't considered that the next group coming in need you in the room to learn from you.
Yeah.
And now we see lots and lots of businesses, in essence, forcing people back in, and people are going on strike.
I know, it's crazy. And lots of people that won't take jobs because they have to go into work on a Friday. I mean, or a Monday.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah.
I think it's mad. I think I don't think it's healthy. I mean, there's certain occasions when it's good to work from home. If you have got to do all those spreadsheets and you're in the office, you know, even if you're in a side office, if you're a salesperson and you're part of a team, you can't help but go and listen to what all the cheering's about.
You're getting pulled in.
You get pulled in.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to remove yourself and work from home to get stuff up to date.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I do every Thursday. I work from home because I do the school run on Thursday, so it allows me to do that. But it also means I lock myself away in a room, and it's my day for doing the dull stuff, the admin, the getting through the things that, when I'm in a busy environment, it's just never going to happen, is it? But so that's interesting. Work from home. Do you think that's got anything to do with the what I would say is, again, we sort of had this conversation before the episode started. It feels like there's a lack of resilience, or our resilience levels are deteriorating. Is there anything to, you know, people love to blame things on COVID. COVID was the issue. Because, you know, the one thing we can all find, no matter what the circumstances, we can always find an excuse. COVID's the perfect excuse, I feel, for a lot of people, for a lot of things. Is work from home anything to do with why people are maybe struggling with their resilience?
I think so. I think it is, yeah. And I think COVID, I mean, I haven't said the word COVID for 5 years.
Yeah, I've said it 5 times this episode, I haven't said it in ages.
But I think what that brought was a realisation that you can function from home, because we had to function. Well, we didn't as agents. I mean, because I had my own business, which is not far from my house, I was pretty much able to go to work every day for most of it because it was allowed. Yeah. And I was there on my own, so I could go to the office.
And you're providing a service because you run a lettings book and you're providing services to your tenants.
Absolutely. But what it made people realise is it's physically possible to work from home if you're experienced and know what you're doing. It just made it possible. And I think people started to grab hold of that and think, yeah, we can be at home, we can do the school run, we can fit round the kids and the dog and the washing. And they started to make that into an expectation. And I think realising they could do that made them feel stronger in themselves. And actually made them feel that they didn't need to come to the office 5 days a week to do a good job. And I think their way of, because they don't necessarily get given that right, that's when they start to say, oh, I can't do this. I can't handle this working in the office for 5 days a week. They know in their head that they can work 1 or 2 days from home and still do as good a job, and it's more convenient for them. And I think that actually, they then start to get resentful of the fact they've got to go to work 5 days a week. And
so
I think that has a negative effect on people, and then they start to have, you know, mental health issues, which, you know, has changed and grown over the past 30 years.
Yeah, it has. And so I think it's really, so I do a lot of work for the Boys Club, which is a men's mental health group,
which I think is fantastic.
It's
absolutely brilliant,
and it's designed to help people that genuinely need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem you've got with a lot of references to mental health is that it gets weaponized. It's almost used as an opportunity to, you know, for instance, if I can't make it into work today because I broke my leg playing rugby at the weekend, and I just need to go get a cast put on it. When I show up on Monday, you're going to see the cast. It's provable. If I just fancy a day off, it's much easier for me to say I'm having a tough time mentally. Now, I'm not saying all people do that, Like, I wouldn't be involved in the group if I thought that was the case. But there is this almost unspoken area of people taking advantage of a situation. And that's why, there's this, trying to find this balance between, say, cases of mental health issues through the roof versus 30 years ago. So some is people taking advantage, some is more awareness around mental health. But how much of it, which is an impossible question for you to answer, is about the way we've now set ourselves up with this work from home and,
Well, yeah, and it's a very delicate area.
It is.
It's a very delicate area.
I don't want to set you up to fail here. It is a delicate area.
No, it's a delicate area. But I think, for me, being a traditional, old-fashioned, long-established agent, you're either well enough to work or you're not. And what I've found is that there is a line for some people where they can work from home because they're not feeling on top of the world. So I feel that I've got mental health issues, therefore I will work from home. Now that to me is a very grey area because, are they off sick or are they working?
It is a grey area.
And that's a real grey area, and it's very difficult as an employer to actually handle.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're either fit for work, like you say, if you've broken your leg, someone can drop you at the office and you can work. That's fine. If you can't come to the office because you're not well enough, whatever that ailment may be, then in my mind you're off sick. Yeah,
that's interesting because I haven't had any experience with that where people have said, I'm going to work from home because my mental health is struggling or something like that at the moment. I've certainly had instances in a past life where people have sort of said, like, I'm struggling with maybe stress. And so there's having this line, and I read this once, and I think it's brilliant. Stress is the point where pressure is greater than your resilience, and it becomes more than pressure and it becomes stress, and that's really a way of looking at it. And so if you're in your business and you're running it effectively and you care about your people, you generally can spot these things. People are under too much pressure, we need to pull some of that back. But I haven't had that specific instance where someone said, I need to work from home because I'm just not feeling great. I can't remember which book it was or which podcast I was listening to. There's a study that's been going on. I think it's a Harvard study. It's been going on for years and years and years and years. And it looks at people as they age and their health. They look at people when they get to the age of 80 and they review what their life was like when they were 50. What do you think is the number one thing that determines your health at 80 when you're 50 years old?
Keeping fit and active.
Yeah, so this is
physical exercise.
So this
physical
is what
exercise
lots of people will say.
Is hugely important.
So it is, and I completely subscribe to that. Do a lot of exercise. Diet is important. Things like not smoking, people mentioned.
Absolutely.
Limited
not
alcohol.
Too much.
But I'll tell you, this will blow your mind. What the number one thing is. The quality of your relationships when you're 50 is the number one determinant of how healthy you are when you're 80.
Really? Oh,
so you could have a load of really close friends, maybe, partner, children, whatever it is. If at 50 years old, that group is amazing and you're engaged with them, you're spending time with them, but you drink every day and you smoke, you'll be in better shape at 80 than someone who's lonely and fit.
Gosh.
Which was a real eye-opener for me. I heard that in the last few weeks. But it points to a society that needs to consider what it's doing moving forward. Because I was saying to you earlier on, talking to my 9-year-old about, I don't want her to have a mobile phone because I personally think the world is the most connected and disconnected it's ever been. You can get hold of me anytime you want. You can WhatsApp me, text me, call me, email me, send me a note on Facebook, Absolutely. Send me something on. There's so many ways to get hold of me. But at the same time, if I'm wildly honest, I see my mates less than I ever have. Because we've all got so much going on. There's so many things to be doing nowadays, and we're all the favourite word to describe ourselves is busy, which is I think if I think about when I was 10 years old, think about my parents, my dad would never have described himself as busy.
It's priorities, isn't it? It's all priorities.
So, as a society, if we're becoming more disconnected because we live our lives looking at our phone as opposed to looking at each other.
But they have their uses. I mean, I don't believe in kids not having mobile phones. I mean, 9 years, a bit young, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't believe in it. I think it's learning how to live with it is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not being a slave to it, because it's really beneficial. It's brilliant to have a phone from a safety, from every perspective. You need it, don't you, to pay for anything nowadays?
Well, I mean, it wasn't long ago that I was out after a work event, and I realised that my battery is going to die before I get to the other end of the train.
How'd you get home?
I don't know.
To borrow money off. I had to get someone else to chat them up and pay my train ticket because I had no way of paying.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But
I feel
again,
that pain.
I think, it's training people how to use it properly, and getting the girls out there meeting people and enjoying meeting people rather than turning it into a negative.
Yeah. You don't have to be an extrovert to enjoy talking to people.
No.
You've got to find your people, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay. So we started this episode talking about the problem with this industry is the speed of conveyancing, and we haven't addressed that in the slightest. We've ended up talking about AI and all sorts, and work from home and changing culture, but that's okay. We may get onto conveyancing next week in Jackie's third episode with us. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.